Hi, I'm Cynthia, and welcome to the Home Downsizing Show. Today we're talking about the fastest, easiest, and most convenient way to sell your house and downsize to a smaller home, apartment, or other senior living arrangement. And with me today is Ben Socek, the owner and founder of Home Downsizing Solutions. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about Home Downsizing Solutions.
Sure. Well, Home Downsizing Solutions is what I would term a professional home buying company that has been providing home buying services for more than 25 years. We do everything that we can to make it stress and hassle-free for a homeowner to sell their house and transition to maybe a smaller house, apartment community, or other senior living arrangement. And we also do everything that we can to facilitate or help find the resources that requires, whether that be a moving company, a move manager, maybe someone that can find and locate a apartment or senior community for a person. So everything that needs to be done in that transition from a house to a new home or apartment.
And there's a lot that needs to be done. Are there certain home selling situations that you work with?
We work with a lot of different situations, whether that be a person that's been in their house for 20, 30, maybe 40 years or more that we've worked with numerous times. Maybe someone that just thinks they have too much house. Maybe they have a rooms, or even entire floors of a house that they just haven't needed because the kids are all gone.
Right.
And it's just more utilities and they need to pay, more of everything than they need.
It's a different stage of life.
Correct, absolutely. We also work with numerous individuals that maybe there's been a life event, unfortunately, that, understandably most people want to stay in their house for as long as possible.
Yes.
I'm that way as well. But at some point, usually, there is going to be, unfortunately, be a transition that a person is going to need or want to downsize to an apartment or other type of senior living arrangement. And so we worked with numerous homeowners like that, as well as their adult children or caregivers that are responsible for them, and they've decided, okay, maybe mom or dad can't stay in the house anymore. They need to get to someplace safer,
Right.
and a better or more appropriate housing arrangement than what they are in. And of course, we've worked with numerous inherited situations where a person may have inherited a house. Maybe it's an estate or probate situation where there's real estate involved. And so we're very well versed with any of those situations. Really, any situation where a person is looking for an easier, less stress-free way to sell a house, especially if a house needs repairs or updates or any of those items.
Interesting. So Home Downsizing Solutions sounds like a great service. What are some of the benefits you offer sellers, or why would someone who wanted to sell their house call your company instead of a traditional real estate company?
Sure. Well, again, I've been in business for more than 25 years, and so we have been doing everything that we can to always improve our services to benefit those that we work with. And really being very transparent with you and the viewers, the first 10 years that I was in this business, I really didn't have any idea why a person would call me or any other home buyer. I figured, most of the time, why wouldn't you just call a real estate agent?
Right.
But when the economy corrected in 2008, which seems like an eternity ago, but really it hasn't been that long for some of us
Right.
that remember that. The real estate market really changed. And I had more and more sellers that were calling me, and most of them didn't have to do anything, but they wanted to sell a house and move to a smaller home or apartment. And so those were the individuals that really taught me the value of our services, and that there were people that really valued and benefited what we had to offer. And so that's when I started more providing these services specifically to these individuals, because I knew that they appreciated what we did, and I knew that they valued what we did. And so I wanted to do everything that we could to help them.
Right, right. So What do you do about repairs and updates that have to be done to houses before they're sold?
Absolutely. Unlike a traditional situation where if a person is going to want to list a house on the market, uh, with us, a person doesn't have to do any repairs or updates. They do not have to do anything to get a house into show-ready condition. They don't have to worry about any whole house inspection or appraisal that most home buyers, traditional home buyers, will want done in order to sell a house. And so, again, it comes down to those benefits of just being able to very easily and quickly sell a house without any of those situations. But um, those individuals, those home sellers, really appreciate the benefits that we just mentioned.
Right. And what about the timing when selling a house and making a move?
That's one of the big benefits that a lot of people really enjoy is unlike a traditional situation, understandably, most buyers, if they get a loan on a house, they want possession of the house immediately on closing day. We, on the other hand, understand that there may be situations where it's not easy for a person to close and move immediately. Maybe there's a waiting list for the apartment or apartment community that they're getting into. And so for us, we can give them 30, 60, maybe 90 days or more
Right.
to make that transition.
I always thought that by someone, when they're selling their house, they have to move right away as soon as it closes. That's just how it's done. I didn't know
Correct.
there were other options.
That's correct. Again, with us, we can be very flexible with those situations because I've worked with numerous situations where a person knew that they wanted to move to an apartment community. Maybe they had the specific community picked out, but there's a waiting list. That's very common these days in that, especially communities that are popular, if they're on a ground floor and they accept pets maybe, that's always a wanted item. And so there's always a waiting list. And
Right.
so a person never knows when they're going to be called and say, okay, if you want this apartment, you need to make a decision now.
Right.
And so with us, we can buy the house immediately so that the seller knows that the house is sold, but yet give them time to make that transition so they're not forced out of their house.
It's great to have that flexibility. So you've been in business for some time now. Why do you continue to provide home buying and downsizing services?
It has been a while, but again, with my mission with Home Downsizing Solutions is to provide the best service for people that want a stress and hassle-free way to sell a house and downsize or move to a smaller residence. I know after working with literally hundreds of individuals and home sellers that it can be stressful to move from a house you've been in for 20, 30, maybe 40 years or more. It can be even more stressful for a senior or their family if a life event has happened and they're kind of being pushed to make that transition.
Right.
It's never easy to do that. I've encountered that with my own family besides the numerous individuals and families that we've helped. A very stressful time to make that decision. And so that's why I want to do everything that my company can to not add to the stress of selling a house to make that happen.
Well, that's so good to hear. There are generally a lot of people involved in these decision-making processes when people are at different stages in their lives, and there's real estate involved, and there's a house full of stuff, and the kids are gone, and they're not local. There are so many things. It's just great to know that there's a company like yours that can really guide people through this process to come up with the best result for their individual situation.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned that with Home Downsizing Solutions, the seller can avoid many of the challenges that come with selling a house in a traditional way. What are some of those challenges?
As I alluded to earlier, some of the typical challenges that a person will run across will, of course, be getting a house into show-ready condition. Typically needing, especially if a person has lived in a house for literally decades, there would typically be repairs, updates, deferred maintenance, those items to worry about. Dealing with showings and agents calling at maybe inconvenient times, potential buyers wanting to see the house at inconvenient times or at all. We've worked with situations where a person may be homebound, and so they don't want people in the
Right.
house. They can't leave the house. And so that's always a difficult, challenging situation. And you never know if a potential buyer is serious about buying a house. So if a person already is nervous about strangers coming through their house, not knowing who's going to be coming through the house, or even if they're serious, is always a consideration.
That's a great stress reliever, especially in these days and times when you're not sure about opening your door to someone.
Correct.
And there's a level of safety that's concerned. So I think that this is a wonderful way to address that.
Yes. And not that it's thankfully not a common thing, but seniors, I'll include myself anymore in that category, but there have been situations where medications have been stolen from cabinets, and so you just never know who's going to be doing that. But
Right.
some of the other concerns that we can help overcome or eliminate is not knowing when a house is going to sell. Obviously, we've just recently went through a period of time when it was very easy to sell a house.
Right.
But again, going back to 2008, 2009, one of the big concerns, one of the reasons that people were calling my company is that if they listed the house and it didn't sell, they just wanted it sold.
Right.
So not knowing when it's going to sell, not knowing how much they're going to actually net from the house if it sells. And so all of those issues we can eliminate.
Oh, that sounds just like a great way to move forward to another stage in your life if you're looking at making this type of decision. So we're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to learn more about Home Downsizing Solutions.
Are you ready to sell your house and downsize? Or maybe you're suffering from too much house? Home Downsizing Solutions can buy your house fast and give you a fair cash offer. No stress of showings, no strangers in your house, no costly repairs or updates. Home Downsizing Solutions has been paying cash for houses for over 25 years. Sell your house fast and get the stress-free lifestyle you deserve. Call or visit homedownsizing.com today.
So welcome back to the Home Downsizing Show, and I'm here with Ben Socek, the founder and owner of Home Downsizing Solutions. So let's talk about this some more. So Home Downsizing Solutions can buy a seller's house direct, so they don't have to worry about any of these challenges that we had been talking about earlier, right?
That's correct. Home Downsizing Solutions eliminates any of the challenges with selling a house in a traditional manner that can come with that. There's no need to deal with the hassles or the cost of repairs, updates, deferred maintenance, showings. Who knows when the house is going to sell, depending on the market. And one of the things we've ran into is if a person doesn't mind or think they don't mind doing repairs and updates to a house, is does the seller really want to call a number of contractors to get bids, much less than overseeing the work, making sure that it's done correctly, and
Right.
making sure that it's done right.
It's so hard to get that done even when you're not selling a house.
Correct. Especially these days, it's very difficult to find contractors and get them lined up and oversee all that. That's absolutely right. There's no need to take what I run into a lot are people saying that they need to go through their stuff that's in the house.
Oh, that can be a huge barrier.
That's
Right.
correct. And so with us, we tell them, sell the things that you want to sell or give away the things you want to give away, move the things that you want to take with you. But if there is stuff left over that you just don't care about, especially in family situations where the family is having to take care of moving a parent or loved one to senior living, and then they have a house full of stuff to go through that they don't care about, we tell them just to leave it we'll take care of it. And again, we buy houses in any condition, so they don't have to worry about those items. And so again, just making it very easy and stress and hassle free to sell a house and move.
Is there an inspection that has to be done? Is there a whole house inspection that has to be done with?
Traditionally, yes. Most traditional buyers understandably want a whole house inspection and appraisal, because the bank, of course, if they're getting a loan from a lender, the bank wants to know they're going to make a loan on a house that's of a specific or of a certain value or enough value.
Right.
And the whole house inspection will typically should uncover whether there are any issues or deficiencies with a house that the buyer may not know about or may not see just from walking through the house. And so understandably, they would want to know that before they close on a house.
Right.
With us, we don't have any of that. We do our inspection, and we close and buy the house. With the inspections or the deficiencies, that can sometimes give a traditional buyer a reason or reasons to renegotiate their agreement with a seller.
Right.
So when a seller thinks the house is sold and have a certain amount or have sold it for a certain amount, that can all change depending on a whole house inspection.
Right. Suddenly they find out that the roof has to be replaced, or the plumbing has to be upgraded, or
Correct.
or something else that becomes a huge expense that they weren't anticipating.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before. So one of the bigger issues when downsizing is the timing of selling a house, and we touched on this a little bit earlier. But when someone is moving to a new apartment or an apartment community, especially if there's a waiting list for a specific type of housing, there are just a lot of unknowns there. So how do you help with that?
Sure. Again, that's something that is really a great benefit that a lot of people have found very beneficial, in that we can be very flexible with the closing and possession dates of the house. So if a person sells a house and it sells too fast, which may have happened in the last couple of years, there may be a situation where if the ultimate place that they want to get to isn't ready or doesn't have an opening for them, they would have to move to a place in between and then move again to get to that place that they wanted to get to in the first place.
Right.
Or if they move and the house hasn't sold, then the seller is responsible for a vacant house, which a lot of people do not want to see happen, understandably.
Right.
They still have to usually worry about utilities, vacant house insurance, which is a lot more expensive than just owner-occupied house insurance,
Right.
as well as maybe potentially vandalism or any of the other issues that come along with a vacant house. And so we can eliminate any of those things. One other thing, if a person is moving into a senior community or maybe buying a house and they need a new smaller home that they're downsizing to, it'll often happen where they need the funds from their house to get into their new home
Absolutely.
or apartment community.
Right. Yeah.
And so they either have to sell the house before they can do anything, or they need to take out a bridge loan in order to make that transition happen. And again, with us, we can buy the house immediately, but typically allow them to stay in the house for 30, 60, 90 days so that they don't have to worry about the cost and expense of a bridge loan.
Well, and that's an added expense that they wouldn't have either. So that's
Correct.
really great to hear. So people may be watching and they're thinking, having Home Downsizing Solutions just buy my house. It really sounds great, but
Yep.
what's the catch?
Correct. As I mentioned earlier, if the benefits that we offer are of enough value, then there really is no catch. That's really what it comes down to.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. But what are some of the concerns that sellers have about selling to a cash home buying company?
There are some typical issues or questions and concerns that people should have or do have and should have, really, if I were in their shoes. One, of course, is are they going to net the same amount of money that they would with us as with listing a house traditionally? Two, something that's been very common for 25 plus years that I've been in this business is, are we just going to throw out a lowball offer?
Right.
And the third thing is, are we, or is whether it's us or another cash home buying company, is it a legitimate home buying company or is it a scam? Is a very common thought.
Right, right. So, in talking about some of these things, let's talk about the gross versus net. Can you explain that to me?
That's a term that I use a lot that most other people, if they sell a house, probably don't hear a whole lot. And what I consider gross versus net is if a person wants to sell a house, there are costs or inherent costs to that transaction, or what I like to use the word, the reality of selling a house. It really can be confusing if an agent tells you that they can sell your house for $100,000, for an example. The $100,000 is a gross number, not the net number. And before I go into the specific transaction cost, I will say, because I'm sure there are potentially viewers, especially after the last couple of years, we've had say that, well, it's very easy to sell a house and there really aren't much for transaction cost.
Well, what are transaction costs?
Absolutely. And they will depend on the market that you're in. I will be I try and be very transparent. So if you're in a very good selling market like we were back in 2021 through mid-2022, the transaction cost may not be as high as we were back in 2008, 2009, when it was much more difficult to sell a house. Again, we try and be as transparent as we can. So when we go out to meet with a seller and do an inspection, we try and take whatever market information we have so that they can understand the current market and the information that we're working with.
Right, right. It's well, transaction costs are always something that people should be aware of and should know of those things. So when you're talking to people and you're talking about the listing price and the actual amount that a seller receives from the sale of their house, there can be a big difference there.
There can be a big difference there. And to answer your question that I might have kind of skipped over a little bit with the transaction cost, there are a few different transaction costs that go into any sale of a property. Marketing costs, which are nothing more than the cost to find a buyer. Typically that would be the fee or commission paid to a real estate agent, which some people can sell the house themselves or other online tools that are available now. But a person still has to find a buyer some way, whether that's advertising or their time involved, something along those lines. So there is a marketing cost. In typical markets, you'll have what I term a buyer's discount. And that's really nothing more than typically houses do not sell for the original asking price. Sellers understandably always typically offer less in most markets. And so that's what that would refer to. And of course, closing costs are the cost to get title insurance, the title and closing fee to have the company shovel the papers for closing, the recording documents, or the cost that the county charges to record the transaction. And so all of those items put together is what I term the transaction cost.
Very good, very good. And we talked briefly about the lowball offers, but can you explain a little bit more about that?
Sure. With lowball offers, a person is always concerned with that, understandably, because the first thing that I would say is that if all my company did was throw out lowball offers, we would not still be in business after 25 plus years.
Right.
I've certainly had people say that my offer, they thought I was a nut, quite frankly. But then I had the same people back in 2008, this happened a couple of times or a few times, where they thought my offer was very low. But in 2009, the same people were calling me back after the market corrected asking if I was still interested in buying their house.
Right. Well,
So
that's very interesting. So, Ben, can you discuss the concerns some sellers have about home buying companies being a scam?
Sure. As far as being a scam, again, a very valid question. There are companies out there that with today's technology, it's very easy to put up a website or do other marketing with a "We Buy Houses" message
Right. I've
attached
seen
to
that a
it.
lot. Yeah.
And so it doesn't take much for an individual or company to say that they're in the house buying business. But some of these, and especially in the last few years, a number of these are what I term wholesalers, or what in the industry is termed wholesalers, where they will state they buy houses, but they really have no intent or financial ability to do so.
So, Ben, is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know about Home Downsizing Solutions?
Well, I'm a veteran, so Home Downsizing Solutions is a veteran-owned company, and I take that very seriously. And viewers can check out our website at homedownsizing.com for additional information and read just some of the many great Better Business Bureau and Google reviews we've received. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of sellers over the past 25 plus years, and I realize that a viewer doesn't care what we've done for others, but what we can do for them and their specific situation. And I'd greatly appreciate the opportunity to provide a solution for them. Also, if viewers contact us right now, toll-free 855-291-5005, we will send them a copy of my book, Home Downsizing Secrets, a $17 value, absolutely free.
That's wonderful, Ben. I would encourage anyone who is thinking of selling a house and downsizing or moving to a senior living arrangement to contact Ben today by going to homedownsizing.com or calling toll-free 855-291-5005.